Hey guys, welcome to Black Desert Online, Myseries of the Summer here, Prancing Lamb God here, and welcome to just a short overview. This is basically just a quick short guide. It's not really a step-by-step guide because I can't really backtrack the stuff I've completed for the Mysteries of the Summer, and really, before I even get into this, I just want to tell you, like, I don't really know if you really want to go into this, expect some of the most frustrating experiences of your time in this game, more frustrating than probably failing Pen Black Star like a couple dozen times. But honestly, I to describe some parts that I've just obstacles that I've overcome you have no control basically over the outcome of the attempt for some of the things regarding this. But let's just get into this. So the first part is more than likely it's going to be complete. Also, there's going to be documents down below in the description that you can peruse for yourself as well from the Korean guides and also some other BDO partner guides that I found. The Korean one is actually quite detailed from username Daebongdaebong, so I've been following that one mostly. Obviously, I'm just trying to go for completion here. I'm not trying to go for first place because this is just plain insanity. And that's what I mostly used, and the first part is just I'm just going to go over things that might make things easier apart from the guide as well. So the first one, someone may have already summoned it already. It's like an area, everything takes place like in Heidel Castle in this area over here. So Jordine is also at the Fountain of Origin where this icon is that I have enabled from a side quest regarding like Dregan. He's in a cave over here by the Fountain of Origin. And the first part is you need to get like 50 Naga web feet, 50 Fogan web feet, 50 rusty helms, and 50 corruption oils. If the thing is not summoned there, you can only summon it at nighttime. There has to be a soul spirit there in the castle, and you got to farm these 50 items from these 3 areas in Serendia. And because they're low level mobs, there's a very, very low chance for them to drop if you're super high level. However, probably don't want to waste a loot scroll. It's actually better to just hunt down the elites in each area. The elites are guaranteed to drop the trash loot, and you just keep swapping channels. It's a bit tedious, but it's a guaranteed way for yourself to get like the 50 items that you need. And the 50 corruption oils of corruption I just bought from the marketplace, and hopefully some are sitting there still. But otherwise, you probably want to check this first to make sure that if somebody summoned it already, and you converse with that book on the thing. If you actually have to get all 50 and summon it yourself, it has to be done at nighttime. Once you have all 50 of those items, you craft it at an alchemy table, and you get the King's Regret essentially. And the King's Regret, you go there at night, stand next to the throne, as long as there's a soul or a little blue flame there. Use the book there, and it'll summon the book, and then you interact with the book, and you pretty much have started the Mysteries of the Summer. So once you have that first step complete with the book, you'll probably need to go seek out Jordine, like I said earlier, at the Fountain of Origin over here. He's just hiding in a cave. You might have other side quests, but he's there. Grab that. He'll probably send you back all the way to Heidel, and then to interact with a alchemy tower in one of the towers here. Pretty easy to spot during this time since everybody's doing it. You'll notice a lot of people have their horses parked around, and it's just everybody's at that alchemy table. You're going to be making a lot of trips back to it. Essentially, for each challenge that you complete, you'll get an item to toss into the alchemy table. Gives you a quest completion. You move on to the next one. All right, so once you have that alchemy table unlocked, the next one actually requires you to have some horse race seals. And after it's been summoned, I don't think this one despawns, but it's at the Stonetail Horse Ranch. And there's like an area somewhere around here where there's a gravestone, and behind the gravestone there's a wildflower there that you can interact with if it's been summoned by people who have submitted their horse race seals. It's a collaborative server effort, so you can do it yourself, or a bunch of people can also congregate and also contribute to the summoning of the rose. And I believe it's there forever, because when I went to do this, I had no horse race seals, and I just sort of waltzed into the gravestone and inspected behind the gravestone and pretty much got the item. So thank you so much to everybody who contributed to that effort. And that's pretty much it. And then you just go back to the alchemy table, drop it in there. And then for the next part after that horse seal dump or whatever, there was like a series of other quests to get the item to spawn on top of the Heidel Church. The Heidel Church is somewhere over here, and you want to get to the top of the church on the cross, the highest point of this building over here. It's got a very slippery slope. And I don't know what the previous steps were, but apparently people sort of spawned the item for me, and everybody was just jumping up here, and then I followed suit and practically just got an item there to get to the alchemy table. But it has to do with a thief, repeatable quests on like the top of the buildings at nighttime during a certain time frame in game time to get this event to occur. So basically, I do not know the steps and practically was just trailing behind the leaders essentially. And to jump up that building, the slope is quite annoying. Make sure you have like jump height crystals, stir-fried vegetables, and elixir of soaring wings to help you jump higher. And the thing is shaped like a pyramid, a very, very vertical pyramid. And the trick is not really jumping straight at it, but actually jumping around the pyramid in a circle towards the top, and you'll actually make it there. If you jump straight forwards towards it, you'll keep sliding downwards, and you might not make it to the top, and it'll become really, really frustrating and annoying. Other people have tried other things like berserkers with their succession and doing the lava charge run jump and just literally landing on top of it. Others were like tamers just going straight vertical up. So, you know, whatever works for you. But like if you want to just do it by sheer like jumping with no skill cancels or anything, you just try to go circular around it, or at least go sideways. Don't go directly at the angle of the thing, otherwise you just slide down faster than you do traversing upwards. Was how I got up to the top there. It's a bit tricky, but like you'll eventually get the hang of it after a few trials and errors. And then you go back to the alchemy table and dump that in there. The next step is not too hard. There's like a bunch of little rabbits like in this forest here in Heidel Forest. After that step with jumping up the church, you go to this forest here and you want to look for a little rabbit with the name Quick on it. It's got the tag Quick, sort of like when you hunt mobs it says wild on top of it, but instead this one says Quick, bothersome rabbits. Slay a bunch of those and hopefully you'll eventually find an aged fine wine or whatever that just goes into your inventory for if you have pets looting. And that should get you to the next step of the place. You want to use it and it'll give you a marker, and you run to the marker. I believe it was inside this tower up here. And once you're in that tower, you use that aged fine wine next to the bonfire plate thing inside there, and it'll teleport you somewhere. Once you teleport there, interact with the item, get the item, go back to the alchemy table, submit it, complete your quest, move on to the next part. That one wasn't too bad. Sometimes they only spawn at nighttime, unfortunately, so you might be day gated. So just sort of keep an eye out, but you basically need that aged fine wine item to drop. There's no indication when it drops, like you don't get an announcement across the top of your screen. It just shows up in the message like a basic item like trash loot. So just keep an eye out for it and you should be able to know. So if you want to get up to the tower here, it is actually a little bit semi-tricky because it's sort of, there's no accessible path. There's actually a path on the side where the Heidel arena is. You can climb these tents and spaces, and because you have hopefully you have your jump crystals and jump gear from the church, that you can actually just climb up this wall and walk through the south side and just go down, and you'll eventually like go into the spot where you need to use the wine and teleport. So that's how I actually guided a guild member there, because they didn't have a triple jump or a quadruple jump like I did as a Kuno. So that's one way to do it. If you're trying to go in from the Heidel side, there's not really anything to traverse upwards from this side of the walls. So the next one after that, the aged fine wine, is to actually make some wine. It's this one's actually kind of annoying. It's RNG based on whether you get the next upgraded item for it or not. Try not to mess up. It is a bit frustrating, but it's not that bad. Obviously the range is insane. I got it in about like 15 attempts, and then my guild member took like 56 minutes and took forever, and it's really unfortunate. Like, I don't take any glory in being carried or whatever. It's because I'm trying to do it with my party members, and like if one of us speeds up past the other, it doesn't really matter because we're trying to help each other out, and it's kind of awful that you have to wait. But then like at that point it's just research the steps downwards. But this one is cooking, so you have to make stuff. You do need a cooking utensil. You need to probably borrow a residence somewhere if you don't have one. And what you need is grapes, leavening agent, exotic herbal wine, and essence of liquors, one of each. And you want to combine that into a diluted wine thing or a grape wine thing by crafting it with simple cooking at first. Once you have that from simple cooking, then you need to go to your cooking utensil inside the house and use distilled water and then that first piece of wine, and then keep crafting it until it upgrades into the next one. And then once you hit the next one, then you use that upgraded wine, distilled water, and a spirit leaf this time, and keep crafting that until it upgrades again. And then once it upgrades again, you keep doing that until it upgrades into... No, once it upgrades again, then you can use 5 waters. I really don't know. Some people use 1 water, some people use 1 spirit leaf, some people use 5 water, 5 spirit leaf. I eventually got it with one distilled water and 1 spirit leaf, and then it turned into the item, and then that was pretty much it. And then eventually at the end result, you'll get the tier of the leaves or something, and then you throw that into the alchemy table, and that's it. So long story short, you need a grape, you need an exotic herbal wine, essence of liquor, leavening agent, simple cook that, take that, throw that with distilled water into the cooking utensil, upgrade it into the next form, and then with that next upgraded form, do distilled water with spirit leaf on it, take that and keep crafting it the same recipe over and over. It's really annoying to input it into the utensil over and over because you can't batch cook it. And then you take that upgraded form into the next upgraded form, rinse and repeat it once more, and then it should eventually turn into the tiers of the leaves items. Pure RNG whether you get the item or not. It could be very fast, it could be very long, no idea. Good luck. And then once you get that tier, throw it into the alchemy table, move on to the next step. So the next part is to summon a King White Wolf or a King Brown Bear boss or whatever, and you can get parts of the materials from Zaira, the material vendor in Velia, and you need the Elixir of Gentle Scent, you need 10 bird meats, and then you either need the 10 deer or fox meats to craft it, and then you put them all together, manufacture it, or I believe it's simple alchemy, and then you'll get a hunting trap, and then the hunting trap will essentially let you summon a boss in specific areas. It's RNG whether the boss spawns or not. I think it's like a 50-50 coin flip, I don't really know, but like once you use the trap in the specified area, it'll either say like, oh, there's wild animals nearby, which means the boss is coming, or either that nothing has happened or whatever essentially is the message. And then once the boss spawns, you kill it, butcher it, you'll get the item, manufacture the item in your processing window, it'll turn into the gem item that you need, throw it into the alchemy window. To get bird meat, you have to go to one of these islands out here, which is pretty much Orse Island, where there's seagulls up in the air. Pick a matchlock and shoot them down and butcher them essentially, or just pick them up. I don't remember if you have to butcher them. I had spare bird meat, and then you need the bird meat to craft the trap essentially. This one I believe you have to do solo, you can't really do it in party. And the bosses have a lot of HP is why I recommended getting to at least skilled 1 before you do this, or at least upgrade a rifle to probably +5 or +6 before you attempt this. Otherwise you're going to spend forever shooting it. You might not even kill it in time. You probably want to do it on horseback probably. You may need some DP, but I'm fairly geared and super geared already, so it's really hard for me to sort of determine what's required for beginners that are trying to attempt this. So I did it on horseback with an artisan +10 matchlock, and that still took like 20 shots to kill the boss or so. And that's maximum hunting damage currently. So if you have like a beginner rifle that's +0, you're gonna be shooting them a lot, and like your rifle will most likely break, have to go repair, and then like run back to the boss spot, and hopefully it hasn't been despawned or anything, or you haven't taken too long to kill them. And like, you know, I just want to make sure you don't run into these obstacles where you're like, oh my god, now I have to go summon the boss again, kind of thing essentially. So that's why I recommend at least maybe skilled 1, apprentice 1, get a +5 or 6 matchlock at least. If you have the event matchlocks from previous events, that's very good, like the water gun or the ice rifle. Those are equivalent to like a +5 like skilled matchlock, and they have no level requirements, so you can use those are actually just fine, very good for this. And yeah, good luck with that one. So after that, it's relatively easy compared to the other challenges, so that one's actually not too bad. After the 2 bosses, you need to actually go all the way to Arahaza, unbelievably far, and pick up trade items from Surondala, and he'll sell you Palm Forest Boy collection. If you got a mini elephant, this will be very quick for you, or very long. Again, this one's an RNG gated sort of thing, and obviously the more items you can take, the more attempts you can have. If you have a geared elephant with like quick run, you can overweight your elephant and still run at full speed and fill 16 of these into your elephant's inventory, and you have to run it all the way back to Burrito Alon over here and sell it to him. And every time you sell a Palm Forest Boy collection, there's a chance that it can spawn you the item that you need. And if it spawns you the item that you need, then you're done and you can get out of there. So you have to make multiple trips. I believe the chance is like 1 out of 100, so 1%. I don't really know. Some people got it in like 30 attempts. Some people got it in 40. I got mine at about like 26. So I've seen others get it in like the first trade. If you don't have that, obviously a camel is the next best choice. Otherwise, a horse or yourself. You're going to have to walk back and forth with yourself, roll across the desert kind of thing. If you need to carry more stocks, swap channel to restock the NPC rather than waiting a whole hour for it to refresh. So you can also do that. So you can carry 24. But if you got an elephant is the fastest way. If you want to get an elephant, it costs about 30 mil to get a quest from Shakatu. So you can get an elephant from Shakatu for about a 30 mil. It's a 30 mil quest to start. And then you need a 10 mil villa pass, I believe, to open up to Shakatu's villa for the miniature elephant obtaining quest if you actually really want to get a super cutie elephant for this kind of hassle. Otherwise, hopefully try and get a camel either through quest line in here or 5 horse seals if you can Imperial deliver a horse that'll grant you up to 5 seals. Or hopefully somebody listed something that you can purchase as a camel or a desert thing. But really, elephant is the best bet for this one. Very, very troublesome for this one. So it's sort of not really like friendly towards anybody who isn't prepared or has these assets already. Obviously, the worst is that you're going to have to just run it essentially from there and back and forth until it spawns. So if you're going to overweight yourself, you may as well just grab as many items as you can through multiple channel swaps and then just like dunk it all into Burrito Alon and hope the item spawns for you. Maybe to even tag a character. Wait, you can't tag a character because you can't take trade items if you're tagged. So yeah, so just that's the best way I can think of for yourself to do this one here. Quite annoying, and then you have to go all the way back to the alchemy table, dunk the item in, move on to the next step. This one is actually just some AFK fishing at Lake Flondor. It is a very, very specific spot in Lake Flondor. I believe I have an image here that people have been circulating. I do not know who came up with this image, but credits to you. I hope you claim it, or I'll find your name and post it there and add it to the description of the video. And like, it's really on the southern side of the Lake Flondor here. Is very specific. It's a very tiny area. I stood on the opposite side of the river one night and fished for 12 hours, nothing. I stood on this side of the river, went to go play Dota 2 for one game, and about 10 minutes into the match, I had the item already. So it is very specific for this item for the Lake Flondor one here. So make sure you go there and stand there and just fish for like probably 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and you should already have the item in your inventory. Not too bad. This one was actually like just fine. You just had to know where to stand. So absolutely not difficult at all. The next one though is quite a bit more tricky. If you haven't done any quests in the game, it could be actually quite difficult. So you have to have a certain number of quests in your quest log accepted, not completed. So the first one is from NPC over here named Safia Ducey or whatever. She generally wants you to get a tune for a spirit, which has you rent a flute for the spirit. She's right here. And you just accept that quest, don't get it done. There's another one here at the Roneros by the Tooth Fairy cabin. He's near the safe zone, so the Tooth Fairy cabin here, there's like a little bridge that down here, and he's sort of hiding behind a tree. There's a dude here that gives you another quest called Things That Bother Us. It's a repeatable, but in order to unlock that, you might have to end up doing some of the Kama Sylvia questline for it to unlock for you to be able to take it. Generally, I would highly suggest backwards searching through on BDO Codex or like a database site to see where this quest requirements are unlocked for yourself. But for me, since I've done like almost 34,000 quests, these are all practically unlocked for me. So I just ran there, grabbed it, and collected it. Then you go up to DJ Khaled over here and talk to him. He's got another quest for you called Stubborn Fattest. Take that as well. And then inside Acher Guard Post, this little green tent right here has an NPC in there called New Cleaning Tool. There might be a prerequisite to that as well before you can accept that quest. Once you have all 4 of those quests, go back to Lake Flondor, and Roland should have a quest for you called Patience is a Virtue. And as well, some of my other guild members expressed their frustration with this, where they had to also grab the Grab the item. Oh, it looks like my guild member got the Tokot line. That was absolute AIDS. That's going to be at the end of this video. And pretty much like you grab the quest from here. Patience is a virtue. Grab and do the Sweary. You have to hand that in. Finish that quest. You actually have to finish that quest, the repeatable one. And then finally, you go up to the highest point of the Western Voltara Mountains up here, and you have to climb it. I didn't have too much difficulties climbing this. I actually came up from the eastern side of the mountain and just climbed upwards. Okay, I came up from the eastern side over here. There's a other path. There are pathways leading up to the top there. And then once you reach the top, when you have all those conditions complete, there's an invisible ladder that shows up for you there that you just climb up after you reach the peak of the mountain. And you climb up that ladder, and at the top, there's something interactable with you there. You take the item, and then you bring it all the way to the alchemy table, dunk it in, and there you go. From mountains, you want to go back and obviously dunk the thing into the alchemy table at the castle by now, where you know where it is. And the next one is actually going to Splashing Point. There's sort of like a voting system here. It's kind of aids. It's a variant range of anywhere from 50, I think it was like 50 to like 100 rings. It's variant, and don't really know whether or not it goes through or not. But everybody has been choosing one side. Everybody has to pick the same side, otherwise it's just completely wasted, or like something resets. No one really knows concrete ideas, so everybody just sort of consolidated into one answer. And pretty much everybody has been submitting Kagtum rings onto the Splashing Point here. There's a tiny little interactable wildflower object thing here. And whichever side gets picked the most, there's eventually, I think the thing tallies up and then it disappears, and then another NPC spawns nearby, because that's what happened for me. And then we interacted with that item, and then all of us who were on that island that all chose the same answer, essentially, since we were all on the same page, we all got the item, and then we moved forward. So this one wasn't that bad, other than the fact that we had to like burn rings and obviously hope that everybody's on the same page, which we were, thankfully. And then that was it. That's the reason why like all the Kagdom rings have been sold out on the marketplace recently. We went from 70,000 like last week down to like 4K left on the marketplace. So that's pretty insane, as to like, you know, now there's only like 3.7K left, and yeah, they're still disappearing. But that's what people have been using to burn like their submission vote on this island. But if you have to do it solo yourself, yeah, you're gonna have to expend about 50 to 100 rings or something like that yourself. Get the item, go back to the alchemy table, submit it in, dunk it in there. You can use Mark of Shadows. You can also use Shrine Guard tokens. Again, you just have to make sure that you choose the same side that everybody else has picked, and hopefully the NPC, when it tallies up or checks itself or whatever, it spawns the NPC that with the item that you need. You'll get the Maestro's first piece, and then you go toss it in, and then you move on to the next step. Very frustrating. Step 10 is actually where a lot of people are stuck. You actually have to look for a Porgy hotspot. Specifically, it has to be a Porgy hotspot, not a black Porgy, not a spotted sea bass, not whatever. Everybody I've confirmed with got it off the Porgy hotspot. From the Porgy hotspot, there's a chance where you can find an item that's like some object tangled in a net, and it's a fucking duck. Okay, so if you are stuck looking for the fucking duck, you need some luck. And pretty much a lot of people have figured out that they go to Arahaza and go around the seas here at the very edge and go up and down. There's a bit of a map circulating around for these for the hotspots. There's specific event hotspots. So there's supposedly no level requirement to cite the event hotspot. So technically at a beginner 1 fisher, you can actually see the hotspots. Whereas like if you're high level fisher, you'll see a lot of other different hotspots. The models of the hotspots are red fish. So if you zoom into the model of the fish, they're red. And then you drop a line and hopefully you're reeling out porgies. If you're not reeling out porgies at all, you're definitely not even on the right spot. So just move on and move into the next one. The hotspots supposedly last very, very short. And I got mine in the middle of like Lima Island, just like right over here in the center somewhere. And that's where I got mine. I dropped mine. It took about 3 or 4 casts before my hotspot disappeared. And after it disappeared, I was like, okay, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to drop one more just for good measure. So keep fishing after it disappears. And like, that's how I got mine. I got mine literally after the hotspot disappeared. I dropped my line once more into blank water, and it pulled out the item, and I was like, okay, well then. And I took a mark of it, I screenshotted it, and that's literally what happened for me. This hotspot, I don't know if it was pre-existing or anything. I was just sailing around the ocean in my Karak, and I saw the hotspot, zoomed over to it, saw it's the red model, dropped my fish line, and just prayed. There's also been reports that people have run around Ross Sea and Margoria as well that have seen the hotspot. If you see them out there, it is very much so guaranteed going to be the event hotspot, but because the ocean is so vast, the chance of also finding it out there is also quite extraordinarily higher because of how much area you have to cover, and hopefully pray you come across the hotspot in the Ross Sea or Margoria. And yeah, there's generally no hotspots there ever, so it's very unusual. The way I actually sort of mapped it out was that I kept swapping servers, looking for Porgy hotspots from place to place, marked it down on a screenshot. So like say my character's over here, I marked this down, I took a screenshot, and then I eventually put it all into Photoshop, and I had like a bit of a collage. And then eventually I started looking for Porgy hotspots that weren't in these areas because I'm a group 15 fisher, so I see way too many hotspots. I didn't want to do it on a low level character because they have no skills to drive a ship around really quick. So it was really awful. This one, a lot of people are stuck behind, but it's nowhere near as bad as the next one, in my opinion. But this one is like, you can still make money or whatever. It's not so bad because you're still making some cash. It's just frustrating that the item might not spawn itself anyways, because the item itself might not even spawn from the event hotspot. So it's just RNG again. When you're fishing the Porgy hotspot, you can or cannot get it sometimes. And that's the real frustrating part. I fully get it. It's really annoying. And then once you get that duck item, essentially object tangled in a net, manufacture it, it'll turn into a rough and tough stuffed duck or whatever, and then you go toss it into the alchemy table, complete that quest, and move on. I've seen a lot of success of people having it around the Arahaza, so you may want to like look for active people who are doing the same thing and get in a party and sort of look for the spots together. So that might be your best bet, because there's not too many hotspots and the area of check is very, very small. So it's very obvious as to which ones are there. And I don't ever remember Porgies even being a thing on this side of the map. So definitely, like, I hear a lot of success. 2 of my guild members that were stuck on this literally left the main seas and got it over here as well. So, you know, go ahead and try that. It probably will work out. I got mine in the mainland sea, probably just by sheer luck. And then, yeah. The next one, the one I just completed today, was complete ass. I really do feel for anybody stuck on this. This is probably like the worst thing ever. I don't even know why they put this in the game or had people do this, and I'm pretty sure it is the intended way to get it. Absolutely awful. I don't know why, but you have to ride a balloon ride, essentially, and you want to get it to... oh wait, no, before you get to that, you have to go kill a bunch of owls in order. So there's 4 owls that you have to kill, 1 over here, and then there's 1 like just on a clothesline inside Heidel, just a little up the street here. And then there's another owl. So there's an owl, let's see, Lara is right here. There's an owl right on top of this red awning here, where Bobby Lauren's man icon is. It's at the top here. So once you get the scroll comes from Chlorence in Velia. Chlorence in Velia has an item that you can get for 1 mil silver from Amity, and you need 500 Amity, and when you buy it, it subtracts 100 Amity, and that's to summon it. You go to the Heidel Arena to summon it. You summon it, and you quickly run down here, and you kill this owl. I think it takes a few seconds for it to spawn, so if you arrive early, you might have some extra time to dawdle around. So you kill that one, you run up the stairs, go through, and then there's like a clothesline, I believe, either in this hallway or this hallway. No, it's this hallway here, and then like from there, just down here a little bit at the corner over here, there's a balcony here where another where another owl spawns, and then when you run up, once you kill that one, then you run up here. There's 2 wagons. It's on the right side wagon, and then you kill that owl, and then you rush back to the Heidel Arena owl. Should be targetable. If it has an HP bar, hit it, knock it down, you'll get the item and you are free. So once you get that, you'll get a soul imbued branch thing, and then you throw that into the alchemy table. Some people have reported that you might need a few attempts to get it. Some people have gotten it in 1 attempt. Others that have replicated like similar success was that don't really rush between the owls, sort of take like a bit of a breather in between. It's still pretty tight, and that's really subjective as to how to describe it. They were saying like anywhere from like 4 to 5 seconds in between each owl. So I don't really know. Other people just sort of leisurely did it, and then the one I did it, you can do this one in a party as well. My successful one run was really strange. I had somebody kill 1, 2, and 3. I was standing at 4, and he killed 1 and 2, and then I killed 4, and then he killed 3, and then we killed the owl in the center. So mine was 1, 2, 4, 3, and then other people were 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I've seen other groups just kill them all like as fast as possible, and it still works. So I don't really know, but I've seen the most consistent results with people killing 1, 2, 3, 4, sort of in not a rushed state. They sort of just like, oh, I'm gonna blow up this one, and then sort of just stroll to number 2, blow up the one in the clotheslines, and then stroll to number 3 behind and kill the one on the balcony, then sort of walk up to number 4, blow that one up, and then just go into the arena and kill the regular owl. You do not need a matchlock. It does help because it's ranged, but you cannot yeah, it's ranged. You can use regular weapons to kill them. I was using a kunai and a short sword, and then when I was helping a guild member, I was using a meiwa with a blade and a hornbow and shooting them with arrows and chopping them with a sword. So hopefully that works out for you, and then just get the item and hand it in, and that's it. Then you go into an absolute RNG mess. That step is the worst part of like my entire BDO experience. Is something that is completely beyond the player's control to an extent. Is riding a balloon ride. So the one after the owls is that you have to take this balloon ride from Calpheon, and it's from Calyx over here. You basically have to pay about 200,000 silver for each ride, and it might not even be the correct ride. So when you summon the balloon, it must go over the arena here. It has to go over it. Not around it, not near the edge, literally right through the arena on your minimap. If you are not going through the arena on your minimap, just get off the balloon. How do you get off the balloon? Go to character select, and then character select back into the character that was on the balloon. And then you'll plummet to your death, unless you have either Hunter's Clothes on to lose 50% fall damage, or you have an equipment tailored Hunter's Clothes on with another Hunter's Clothes on your regular slot for 100% fall damage reduction. Or you have some descent crystals in a shoe, so you can lose 30% fall damage reduction with a hunter's whatever. And basically you can get the hunters at a luxury vendor, so just go to the NPC finder and look for a luxury vendor. There's one in Calpheon. Her name is like Carlisle or something, I don't quite remember, but just search it up, you'll find it very quickly. And then yeah, so you pay like an armor stone or a black stone. What's really scum is some people don't even pay for it, and they just try to free leech off of people's balloons, and it's just like pure scum. Like it's not like a 1 or 2 thing. They just sit there hawking like a bunch of shit vultures, waiting for somebody to summon and hop on and steal your seat on the boat, on the balloon. So what sorry, it's just a very frustrating experience, honestly. It's not fun, it's not engaging, it's just plain misery. It's nowhere near as bad as like all the previous challenges up to this one. This one is actually the worst. Right now, like me and my guild members are farming prancing lambs for the step after that one. So what you want to do here is you want to grab the ticket, summon the balloon, get on it. If it goes across the arena, great. You're on the way to an attempt, and eventually it'll go across this Voltara mountain training here, and there's a tiny little platform extremely high in the sky. We've tried all sorts of things trying to just jump up there regularly. It's not possible. You have to go through the balloon, and I've noticed that there's no future hints about this particular step, so everybody's assuming that this is literally the intended way, and it is so ass backwards in my in my feedback that I don't understand why they would do such a thing. So there's so much random in between. There's not a real answer for anybody out there. You have to determine the answer literally for yourself. And why I say that is because the amount of variables involved is 1, your internet speed, so latency and communication to the server to go to character select and also load into the game. Is your game on a hard drive or SSD for faster loading? Do you have crazy ping? Do you desync? and then the fact that it's just so awful. And based on those factors alone, and then like your graphics settings, they either low or high or whatever. Sometimes you can have a lag spike, maybe the channel's lagging. Nobody really knows. It's all different. I've overshot the platform at 3060 before. I've undershot the platform at 3080 before. And I've also overshot at 3050. I've undershot at 3060. Eventually it boiled down to eliminating as many variables as possible and trying to just repeat the same consistent method, and eventually you'll get it, hopefully, and not pierce through the platform. I had 3 successful attempts where I loaded on top of the platform, but because the platform loaded in slower than my character, I fell right through the thing and I couldn't interact with the object on the platform. It was just so defeating and so out of control that is unbelievable. So those numbers I was talking about, the 3060s, 3050s, so once you're on the right attempt, you also want to drop a waypoint onto the abandoned land node, not the manager or the NPCs here. Literally just right click the node and you'll have a anchor point there, and while you're sailing on the boat or the balloon, you'll have a number that slowly grows larger and larger, which is basically your distance to abandoned land. So as you are approaching about 3050 to 3060 to 3070 essentially is what everybody has sort of danced around between those ranges depending on their computer. It's different because of people's different computer specs, different load times, different internet latency, and basically all those variables that are practically uncontrollable by the player essentially to some extent. Or the server is lagging, who knows? Or one server is like overpopulated than the next channel, you still don't really know, because like, you know, if you do it on Saturday night during Siege, your servers fucking plummet during Siege for some reason. So it's you really want to eliminate and keep your variables as consistent as possible. And then at about 30, 50, or 60, you want to go to character select or character tag and tag your character mid-air on the boat. And hopefully by the time the thing loads out, you are directly on top of the platform. And by the time you load back in, you're actually falling onto the platform. And then you interact with the object, get that piece of shit toe-caught line, and then throw it in there, and then start going to go farm prancing lambs here as a group, and like 55 of them, and then we go do a jumping puzzle, which sounds nowhere near as hard as this. It's really annoying because if you miss one, you're gonna have to like run back to Trent, or you die there and you respawn town, you're gonna end up at Tooth Fairy Cabin, then you gotta walk to H your guard post. It's probably summon your horse or auto walk or whatever, or have a bunch of different alts go there and keep transporting them, which is also a big hassle. You're gonna see a lot of load screens essentially if you don't get it, like if you're just not lucky or if you're not consistent with your methodology. So good luck on that. I really do not wish anybody to have this frustrating experience. Some people have done it for 28 hours. It took me 15 hours and about 300 attempts. 300 attempts being that not 300 actual attempts, like 300 Blackstones wasted into summoning the balloons for the correct balloon to fly over the darn thing. I may have had only about like 20 or like 30 or 40 actual attempts into it. And the rest were just like fake balloons going the wrong way and jump off and die, and eventually had to buy like hunter's clothes to prevent fall damage to reduce load times. Use escape whenever you can off the balloon to just get to the floor really fast and resummon another balloon, maybe even hitch a ride on somebody. So yeah, in any case though, that's it for now. Good luck on the Myseries of Summer. That's where I'm at now, and we're about to go to Sherikhan's to do some lamb sacrifice and a huge jumping puzzle on probably the highest point here. So honestly, that sounds way more engaging than this. This is just purely like stupid. It's 200 and from the balloon liftoff to the correct path, it's about 240 seconds or to 246 seconds depending on your desync or like whatever lag load or whatever. So you can use that to your information. It's been timed. It's just stupid. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Myseries was a whole nother island. Oh no.